What is going on, guys and gals? It is your boy J Love coming back at you with another video. In this video, like the title says, we're going to be talking about how much money you can actually make in hotshot trucking. Guys and gals, thank you so much for being a part of this video, and thank you for being a part of this channel. My name is Jason Love, co-owner of Flash Love Logistics LLC. We are a trucking company out of Joplin, Missouri. We started in October of 2020 with one non-CDL hotshot setup, and we grew our company all the way to 6 active units, truck trailers and drivers on the road at our biggest point. Now we've kind of tapered it back, but over the last 4 years, I've been making videos nonstop about hotshot, semi-trucking, all the different things that we've done that have worked, that haven't worked, giving tips and tricks, and trying to help you be more successful on the road. I'm actually doing business consultation at this point too, so if you go to howtohotshot.com, you can contact me, put in a request for consultation, whether you're trying to figure out if this is something that actually works for you. Maybe you're in a special situation, or you've on the road and you're having struggles and you need somebody to look at your company, see where the weak points are, and kind of help you be more successful on the road. I do all of those things, so definitely hit me up at howtohotshot.com. But let's get to the video. Okay, guys and gals, so in this video, I'm going to show you some basic expenses of what you're going to spend on the road per month, as well as a basic kind of monthly gross, all right? These numbers I'm going to show you, they're pretty typical. I'm not going to show you the best month possible and how much money you're going to make and all this nonsense. I don't want to give you a false sense of security when it comes to trucking, but I'm going to show you kind of what some basic numbers are that I feel comfortable with you being able to hit when it comes to a gross number, as well as how much money you're going to spend to be able to hit that. Now, you have to understand one thing. You're not going to be on the road the entire year. Hopefully you're not on the road the entire year, but if you are doing over the road hotshot trucking, you need to be on the road consistently, right? To make money. You have to be on the road consistently. But what's the word I'm looking for? I would say that you're probably going to be on the road anywhere from 9 months out of the year if you're on the road consistently, because 3 of those months you're either going to be off the road because you're taking your normal time off, or you're going to have your truck down, for example, or you're going to be off because of holiday, right? So I would say, if you're truly being an OTR trucker on the road, you're going to be on the road for about 9 months out of the year. If you're somebody who says, I don't really want to do that, you might look to getting a bigger setup that can make you more money quicker, because if you're doing OTR hotshot, you need to be running hard to make this money and to be able to be sustainable and profitable as a business, to be successful. So I want to put that up front. So these are the numbers I came up with. So on a total monthly gross, on average, every single month, you're going to gross about $20,000. Okay, some months you're probably going to have less than that. Other months you're going to make more than that. But I would say probably roughly 20 grand. That's $5 per week. I think if you have a solid CDL hotshot setup with newer equipment, with a trailer that can haul roughly 20,000 pounds, air ride, for example, you have ramps, and you're willing to be on the road and you have a good system behind you, you can gross 20 grand a month. And in this economy, this market right now, I've seen it plenty of times. Okay, so I do think 20 grand gross is a number that you can hit. And you'll have months where you go over this, but you also have months where you go under it. So I think 20 grand is a good average, right? And some months you're not even going to be on the road. So you might have a big month where you do 25 grand, you might do 25 grand, you might do 23 grand, you might do 27 grand, but then you might be off the road for a while one month and do 10,000, or your truck breaks down, you do 15,000. I think it averages about to 20 grand, right? So that's what that number means. Let's go over what your expenses are going to be. I have the truck payment at about $1,000. Maybe you have a truck payment currently and it's more than that. But I would say on average, for a good CDL hotshot truck, that you're purchasing brand new, you can be roughly at about $1,000 per month on it. You put a little bit of money down, this is going to be your monthly reoccurring cost. One thing you have to understand though, you cannot only pay the minimum on that truck per month. If you only pay the minimum on that truck per month, let's say you have a 5-year loan, that truck's only going to probably last you 3 years, right? So you're going to be at the end of the life of that truck and you're still going to owe a lot of money on it, and you're not going to be able to get rid of it, trade out of it, or sell it, because it's not worth how much money you owe on it. So whatever your minimum payment is, even if your minimum payment is $1,000, I would overpay on that. If you can pay double your minimum, great. If you can pay 1.5 times, great. But I put the truck payment at $1,000. If it is more than that, then change this number. Trailer payment, I put $600. A lot of people buy their trailers cash, but just a trailer payment, I say typically is around $600. Insurance, okay? So insurance, I put at about $2,000. And this is covering your physical damage, basically your full coverage, right? Then you have your trucking liability policy for $1 million, and then you have your cargo policy for $100,000, right? So those are basically the insurances you're going to have. And I'd say roughly, if you're starting out, you're somebody who's had your CDL for 5 or 6 years, you have a good driving record, you have good experience, you're ready to, get your own authority, you're probably going to be about $2,000 per month when it comes to insurance for one truck, one trailer, one driver, about $24,000 a year. Now, it could be higher than this, it could be lower than this, right? But this is just an average number covering everything. If you own your equipment outright and you don't want to run physical damage, then you can get a lower amount than this. But most people owe money on their equipment, therefore they have to have full coverage on the equipment. Fuel I put at $4,500. The way I calculated fuel is for these numbers, I'm saying that you're operating basically 10,000 miles per month. Now you might say, Jason, that's only $2 per mile. Like I said, guys, I'm not trying to give you crazy numbers here, okay? I'm not trying to say, oh, this is what the best month is going to look like and expect that every month. This is just an average, right? You might get some really good loads. You might get some really bad loads. If you're first starting out, it's going to be difficult. I would say $2 a mile on average. For this baseline to really see real numbers, I think is what we should be talking about, okay? So if you average 7.5 miles per gallon at $2 per mile and you did 10,000 miles per month, you would pay roughly $4,500 in fuel. I'm saying that fuel costs roughly $3.30 per gallon, which I say will probably be your average if in this time frame right now, March of 2025, if you're running, around the lower 48. Obviously, if you're staying in California or staying on the East Coast a lot, you're going to have higher fuel costs. But I'd say it's probably going to average out to about $3.30 a gallon, $4,500 a month. Driver. So driver pay, right? You're saying, well, I'm going to drive my own truck. Okay, this can be something that you can pay yourself per month, right? I think whether you're driving your own truck or whether you have a driver, you need to be paying yourself as a driver or paying a driver's pay and have that into your numbers, because if you're trying to build a sustainable business, you need to treat it as such, right? And if you're trying to get multiple trucks and multiple drivers, you need to know that the numbers work before you ever do that, right? If you're just paying yourself what you can each week and paying yourself a lot one week, a little the next, and you're not really trying to cover the numbers at all, then you're going to run into issues on the back end. So let's not do that. Driver pay, I have at 25% of gross. I think that is an entry-level CDL hotshot position, paying somebody 25%. If you can pay yourself 25%, you want to pay yourself less just because you understand that you're going to have expenses that you need to be able to cover. Maybe you're trying to pay your truck down more aggressively, so you pay yourself less. But when you hire a driver, obviously, you have to pay them a livable wage. You have to pay them what they're worth. So anywhere from 25% all the way up, I've seen 30%. I would not pay 30%, probably 27, 28. But I'd also have some benefits there for the driver. $100 if, the truck's down for the day. I'd also pay them, get them a hotel room sometimes if they need one, stuff like that. So really we can up, kind of what the driver's going to cost you. But I would say roughly $5,000 per month off of $20,000 gross, 25% of gross. It's a good number for us to have a conversation about right now. Factoring I have at 3% of gross, which is going to be pretty typical. You probably get a better deal than that. But 3% of gross would be $600. Factoring is basically a company that buys your invoices from you. They then get paid from the company, but they pay you next day. A lot of these expenses we're talking about are going to be weekly expenses, some of them daily expenses. And brokers, when you haul loads for them, they're going to have 30 to 45-day pay terms. Well, you can't wait that long to get paid, obviously, because you have daily expenses, weekly expenses. And so you hire a factoring company. Factoring companies can be very beneficial for small companies because not only are they paying you next day, they're handling all of your accounts receivable. Like if you did not have a factoring company, you're going to be the one contacting these brokers, sending them the proper information, following up with them. If brokers are trying not to pay you, you're going to be the one emailing them, calling them, and you're driving, right? And so whether you hire somebody like a friend or family member to do this for you, or we'll get into dispatch and have the dispatch do it for you, or you hire a factoring company that's going to do all of this and pay you next day, I think a factoring company, especially when you're smaller, is going to be very beneficial. Now, once you're doing $100,000 plus per month, and then we're talking $3, $4, $5 grand per month going to a factoring company, then you can talk about, finding somebody, hiring somebody, paying them a monthly wage, and having them handle your accounts receivable. And that money you would pay a factory company, you're actually able to hire an employee that works directly for your company. Obviously, in that case, you're not going to get paid next day on a lot of the loads, but hopefully at that point, you have a monthly recurring income that's going to cover expenses coming in and cover expenses going out, right? So factoring companies right now I think are beneficial. They cost roughly 3% of your gross. Dispatch. So dispatch I have at 5% of your total gross. So I have it at $1,000. I would not pay more than 5% for dispatch. I think 5% for dispatch is a good rate, whether you are going privately and finding somebody who's like dispatching more than one truck and more than one company, which you'll have people hit you up all the time about that. But I think something very beneficial you can do is hire somebody close to you and train them to be a dispatcher. I have a dispatcher training course they can take, and they can learn how to be a dispatcher. You can pay them 5% of the loads they book for you, whether that's your wife who's stay-at-home mom who can work a couple hours in the morning, whether that's a friend of yours that needs to supplement their income, whether that's a friend of yours that's disabled and can only work from home, or just somebody who wants to work from home. It doesn't matter. This is going to be, I mean, it's only $250 probably per week on average, but that can supplement something else that they're doing. And so they can have a good stay-at-home salary if they already have a little bit of side job work they're doing. So, and then once they become really competent as a dispatcher, they can add more trucks, right? And they can do 3, 4, or as you add more trucks, they're your in-house dispatcher, right? They handle all of your dispatching. So 5% I think is a good rate to pay for dispatch. Maintenance. So I have maintenance at $2,000. Okay. Some months you're going to pay a lot more than this for maintenance and repairs. Other months, not so much, right? But I think a good average is 10% of your gross. Whether you spend this money, and you got to understand this. If you have an F550 and you're doing 10,000 miles a month, you're getting an oil change every month. And that's what, $400 probably, $350, $400. You blow a tire, that's probably another $400 or $500. That's $900. You have to, buy some more equipment like strap equipment. Your tarps get ripped, whatever. Maintenance can really rack up, and that's not even talking about any other bigger, breakdowns you're going to have. So whether or not you spend $2,000 a month, you need to be putting money in a maintenance account. Okay. Hopefully after maybe 2 years, you don't run into, huge maintenance cost. You haven't run into huge maintenance costs. Thank you, God. Then you have like this set aside cash that you can put against how much you owe on the truck and kind of get you out of the hole you've probably dug yourself in, or use it as a down payment for your new truck. So I think it's very important, put that money away for maintenance, because it's very good to have it when you need it. If you don't have it and you need it, you're going to be in a problem. Other expenses, right? I put about $600. This is going to cover like your ELD costs, cover your fuel card fee. You probably got a $30 a month fuel card fee. It's going to cover any system you have to track your loads and everything. So we use a system called Airtable, where we can put in all the information and the driver can pick it up. Maybe you want something you pay monthly for. Your QuickBooks, obviously you're going to have probably a bookkeeper. That's going to be in that. So I put that around $600. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less, but that's just going to be your monthly reoccurring costs that you're going to spend on different things. Another expense is going to be tolls, right? People don't think about tolls. They say, I won't really run into that many tolls. When you're driving consistently, no matter really where you're going, obviously we know if we go to the East Coast, we're going to run tolls, or I-70 Philadelphia, you're going to run into tolls, Oklahoma, Kansas. But there are a lot of different tolls that you have no idea even existed until you start running commercially and start running many miles a day. So I put that at about $500 per month. Obviously you can be over that. Obviously you can be under that, but it is going to be an expense that you're going to run into. So total expenses I have at $17,800, right? Out of $20,000 gross. Now you're thinking, whoa, that got pretty tight. That definitely did get tight. And you have to understand that it can be very tight. And this is saying that you got all 20 grand of that, in the bank. Not in the bank all at once, but every single load you hauled, you didn't have a problem getting factored, right? Every single load you haul, you didn't have a problem with the broker. You didn't have a major breakdown with the truck. Your driver gets paid his fair wage. The truck didn't go down. You didn't have to add, an extra $600 for 5 days in a hotel. Whatever the case may be, right? So this is kind of what, a typical month is going to look like, bar any huge issues you're going to run into. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to run into huge issues, right? Now, if you're driving your truck, obviously you have a little bit more lee room because you control how much money you get paid. But I wouldn't want you having to put, 3 to 4 weeks on the road a month, 3.5 weeks on the road a month, to not be able to pay yourself that much because of other issues you're having, right? So if you're somebody who's like, I want to do CDL Hotshot and I want to hire a driver, like, for example, if you had an okay month that bar any big issues, your company's only going to profit $2,300, right? And so that company is going to profit what, $25,000 a year, which, if you can actually turn a profit in the first 5 years of having a trucking company or any company, you're doing pretty good, right? But the margins are tight, and I want you to understand that. People see trucking, they see CDL trucking or non-CDL trucking, or they see semi-trucking and think, oh, the gross is so high. You can easily build $1 million a year trucking company. $1 million a year trucking company is really only 4 to 5 setups on the road that are consistently working, right? That's not super difficult to build to, especially when you can lease people on. But You look at $1 million a year service-based business like lawn care or pest control or pressure washing, whatever. That's a pretty big company, right? That's multiple, probably pressure washing setups or lawn care setups and multiple employees. Lots of marketing goes into that, lots of customers. Trucking, a lot of our customers come off load boards. We don't have to do much marketing or send out flyers or door hangers or direct mail through. We don't have to do much, any of that, right? Obviously, we want to get our own personal customers, but there is a slew of loads and customers out there on these load boards, right, for you to move. But you see that number and you think, oh, I can make tons of money. It's like you can gross a lot of money, yes. But to hold on to a good amount of that or a portion of that is difficult. It's very difficult, right? You have to build a good, successful system. That's why I'm getting into consultation as much, to help you build a solid, successful system. Successful system meaning that you are profiting, your bills are being paid on time, and you are building a company that is going to be successful. So, hopefully you guys learned something from this video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I love you guys. Hit me up, howtohotshot.com if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you later.